Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab was a Sunni Muslim preacher and scholar from Nejd in Central Arabia who claimed to purify Islam by returning it to what he believed were the original principles of that religion as the salaf, that is, first three generations of Muslims, understood it. He rejected certain common Muslim practices which he regarded as amounting to either religious innovation or polytheism. Ibn Abd al-Wahhab's pact with Muhammad bin Saud helped to establish the Emirate of Diriyah, the first Saudi state, and began a dynastic alliance and power-sharing arrangement between the families which continues to the present day in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The al-Sheikh, Saudi Arabia's leading religious family, are the descendants of Ibn Abd al-Wahhab, and have historically led the ulama in the Saudi state, dominating the state's clerical institutions. His movement is today often known as Wahhabism, although many adherents see this as a derogatory term coined by his opponents, and prefer it to be known as the Salafi movement. Many scholars claim that Salafism is a term applicable to several forms of puritanical Islam in various parts of the world, while Wahhabism refers to the specific Saudi school, which is seen as a more strict form of Salafism. According to Ahmad Musali, professor of political science at the American University of Beirut, as a rule, all Wahhabis are Salafists, but not all Salafists are Wahhabis. Yet others say that while Wahhabism and Salafism originally were two different things, they became practically indistinguishable in the 1970s. 20th century Albanian scholar Izzeruddin Albani refers to his activism as Najdi Dawah. Early years. Ibn Abd al-Wahhab is generally acknowledged to have been born in 1703 into the sedentary Arab clan of Banu Tamim in Uyayna, a village in the Nejd region of the modern Saudi Arabia. He was thought to have started studying Islam at an early age, primarily with his father Abd al-Wahhab. His family was from a line of scholars of the Hanbali school of jurisprudence. Ibn Abd al-Wahhab reportedly spent some time studying with Muslim scholars in the cities of Mecca and Medina after performing Hajj, notably Muhammad al-Sindi, and in Basra. Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab's teacher Abdullah ibn Ibrahim ibn Saif introduced the relatively young man to Muhammad al-Sindi in Medina and recommended him as a student. Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab and al-Sindi became very close, and Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab stayed with him for some time. Scholars have described Muhammad as having an important influence on Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab, who taught Ibn Abd al-Wahhab to utilize informed individual analysis. Muhammad also taught Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab to reject popular religious practices associated with Wahabists and the tombs that resembles later Wahhabi teachings. Muhammad and his milieu are important for understanding the origins of at least the Wahhabi revivalist impulse. Following his early education in Medina, Abdul Wahhab traveled outside of the peninsula, venturing first to Basra. Early preaching. After his return home, Ibn Abd al-Wahhab began to attract followers, including the ruler of Uyayna, Uthman ibn Mu'ammar. With Ibn Mu'ammar, Ibn Abd al-Wahhab came to an agreement to support Ibn Mu'ammar's political ambitions to expand his rule over Najd and possibly beyond. In exchange for the ruler's support for Ibn Abd al-Wahhab's religious teachings, Abd al-Wahhab began to implement some of his ideas for reform. First, citing Islamic teachings forbidding grave worship, he persuaded Ibn Mu'ammar to help him level the grave of Zayd ibn al-Khattab, a companion of Muhammad, whose grave was revered by locals. Secondly, he ordered the cutting down of trees considered sacred by locals, cutting down the most glorified of all of the trees himself. He is known to have organized the stoning of a woman who confessed to having committed adultery. century. These actions gained the attention of Suleiman ibn Muhammad ibn Girar of the tribe of Bani Khalid, the chief of al-Hassa and Qatif, who held substantial influence in Nejd. Ibn Girar threatened Ibn Muhammad with denying him the ability to collect a land tax for some properties that Ibn Muhammad owned in al-Hassa if he did not kill or drive away Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab. Consequently, Ibn Muhammad forced Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab to leave family. According to some sources, while in Baghdad, Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab married an affluent woman. When she died, he inherited her property and wealth. This claim of marriage to a wealthy woman and traveling to Baghdad is challenged by Salafi scholars who assert that his marriage was arranged by his father when he was a teenager and he never traveled beyond Basra. Muhammad ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab had 6 sons: Hussein, Abdullah, Hassan, Ali and Ibrahim, and Abdul Aziz, who died in his youth. All his surviving sons established religious schools close to the homes and taught the young students from Darar and other places. The descendants of Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab, the ash-Sheikh, have historically led the ulama in the Saudi state, dominating the state's religious institutions. Within Saudi Arabia, the family is held in prestige similar to the Saudi royal family, with whom they share power, and has included several religious scholars and officials. The arrangement between the two families is based on the al-Saud maintaining the al-Sheikh's authority in religious matters and upholding and propagating Salafi doctrine. In return, the al-Sheikh support the al-Saud's political authority, thereby using its religious moral authority to legitimize the royal family's rule. Teachings. See also Salafi and Wahhabi movement. Muhammad ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab considered his movement an effort to purify Islam by returning Muslims to what he believed were the original principles of that religion, as typified by the salaf, and rejecting what he regarded as religious innovations and polytheism. He taught that the primary doctrine of Islam was the uniqueness and unity of God. The first aspect of Tawhid is belief in Allah and His Lordship, that He alone is the believer's Lord. The second is the oneness of worship to Allah and Allah alone. The third being belief and affirmation of Allah's names and attributes. The core of Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab's teaching is found in Kitab al-Tawhid, a short essay which draws from material in the Quran and the recorded doings and sayings of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. It preaches that worship in Islam includes conventional acts of worship such as the 5 daily prayers, fasting, supplication, seeking protection or refuge, seeking help of Allah. Muhammad ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab was keen on emphasizing that other acts, such as making dua or calling upon, supplication to, or seeking help, protection or intercession from anyone or anything other than Allah, our acts of shirk and contradict the tenets of Tawhid, and that those who tried would never be forgiven. Although all Muslims pray to one God, the highlight of this movement was that no intercession with God was possible. Muhammad strictly advocated takfir of those who considered themselves Muslim but were actually polytheists. However, he avoided blanket takfir to all groups. In this regard he said, "I do not say that one who prostrates on the grave of Abdul Qadir Gilani unknowingly has done shirk, but the one has done knowingly has." On Sufism. Although highly critical of the Sufi practice of tawassul, at the end of his treatise, al-Hadiyah al-Sunniyah, Muhammad ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab's son, Abdallah, speaks positively on the practice of taqiyya. Non-Muslims, according to author Gold in Kitab al-Tawhid, Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab described followers of both the Christian and Jewish faiths as sorcerers who believed in devil worship, and cited a hadith of the Prophet stating that punishment for the sorcerer is that he be struck with the sword. Wahhab asserted that both religions had improperly made the graves of the Prophet into places of worship and warned Muslims not to imitate this practice. Wahhab concluded that the ways of the people of the book are condemned as those of polytheists. However, author Natana J. DeLongbar defends Wahhab, stating that despite his at times vehement denunciations of other religious groups for the supposedly heretical beliefs, Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab never called for the destruction or death. He assumed that these people would be punished in the afterlife. Reception by contemporaries. As with the early Salafists, Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab's teachings were criticized by a number of Islamic scholars for disregarding Islamic history, monuments, traditions and the sanctity of Muslim life. His own brother, Sulayman, was particularly critical, claiming he was ill-educated and intolerant, classing Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab's views as fringe and fanatical. A list of scholars with opposing views, along with names of the books and related information, was compiled by the Islamic scholar Muhammad Hisham. By modern scholars, Pakistani Muslim scholars such as Isra Ahmad have spoken positively on him. Ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab is accepted by Salafi scholars as an authority and source of reference. Namesake, the State Mosque of Qatar is named after him. The Imam Muhammad ibn ʿAbd al-Wahhab Mosque was opened in 2011, with the Emir of Qatar presiding over the occasion. Works: Risala Asluddin al-Islam wa Qa'idatuhu, Kitab al-Quran, Kitab at-Tawhid, Kashf Shubuhat, Al-Usul Uth-Thalatha, Al-Qawaid al-Arba', Al-Usul as-Sitta, Nawaqid al-Ilam, Adab al-Mashila as-Salah, Usul al-Iman, Fada'i al-Islam, Fada'i al-Quran, Majmu'a al-Hadith, Abwab al-Fiqh, Muqtasar al-Iman, Muqtasar al-Insaf Wal Shah al-Kabir, Muqtasar Sirat al-Rasul, Kitabu al-Kaba'ir, Kitabu al-Aman, al-Radd, al-Rafida.